In this video, I want to talk to you about 10 reasons why I think Apple should open OS X to the PC. Now, here's my disclaimer. This video was inspired somewhat by an article I seen this morning called 8 Big Reasons Apple Should Let Mac OS X onto the PC. But much of this is my own opinion. This is actually a video that I thought about making for a very long time. Now, I know it's going to be controversial with some folks because they believe that, hell no, under no reason should Apple ever let OS X into the PC world. Now, people do Hacintoshes all the time. There's probably several million of them out there. Others will say, well, they're committing a crime. It's illegal to do that. No. Essentially, it's not a crime. It's not a criminal act. It's a civil act where you breaking copyright law. But that's a different story altogether. But the reality is Apple, the Mac, has about 7% global market share and somewhere close to 12 to 13% in the US. But looking on a global basis, about 7%. So what would be the upshot to Apple opening OS X to the PC? Much like you buy a copy of Windows, somebody could choose to have OS X on their PC. Well, here's the thing. If we look at revenue on Apple's reports, Mac makes about 12% of their total revenue. In other words, 88% of their money, or 88 cents out of every dollar Apple is pulling in, is mostly coming from the iPhone, iPad, and services. Just 12 cents of that dollar is coming from the Mac. If Apple were to allow OS X to run on the PC, it may allow them to gracefully exit some unprofitable Mac categories and concentrate on other projects. That could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depending how you look at it. But it would free Apple to work on other things than working on machines where they're not making that much of their money anymore. Number 2, and that is Apple's ecosystem is what it's really all about, right? So if we have millions of new users of OS X out there, and they're discovering Apple software, Apple services, things like iTunes, Apple Music, books, etc. This is a great new market who they didn't reach before. So that's something to think about. Number 3, Apple has some very good professional software out there. Now, you can debate the merits of, Premiere Pro or Vegas versus Final Cut 10 Pro or Final Cut Pro 10. But there's a lot of professional editors out there who use it, and they would love to be able to use their choice of hardware. Same with Logic and Motion and a few others as well. So Apple Pro software would see a big increase out in the field. Number 4, Apple would be well represented in machines under $1,000. So go to Best Buy, go to Fry's, go to any of these stores, Walmart, whatever. All the computers under $1,000 almost inevitably are all running Windows. But if people had a choice between Windows and OS X, you would see quite a few, I think, sub $1,000 computers out there running Apple OS X. Number 5, this would allow Apple to reestablish themselves somewhat in the enterprise. As it stands right now, a lot of companies lost a hell of a lot of faith in Apple after they quit making the Xserve, give up on Xan, and all this other enterprise stuff. Most companies feel Apple doesn't give two hoots in hell about the enterprise. And I think, as it stands right now, they're right. But yet, a lot of users out there would like to use OS X. By making it available, then you would start to see more of it being used in the enterprise, including new servers running OS X server. I think that would be very, very cool. Hey, number 6, people who like OS X, they just don't happen to like Apple hardware, or they don't like the prices of Apple hardware, would suddenly have the ability to run their favorite operating system on their favorite hardware. I think that would be very, very cool. Number 7, even though Linux is a great alternative to Windows, it's still got its problems and so forth. And one of the things is it doesn't support major apps natively, such as Microsoft Office, although with El Capitan now, Microsoft Office isn't working too hot. But irregardless, I'm sorry, that's not a real word. Regardless of that fact, Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, all these applications run on OS X that they don't run natively on Linux. Number 8, with OS 10 as a secondary OS for people to choose from, that's going to give Microsoft real heat to improve their game. It'll be a win-win for everybody. Number 9, it's no secret that when it comes to gaming, Windows is king. Well, part of the reason is there's no real advantage to game developers to go and modify and optimize games for a machine that's only got 7% of the global market. Companies such as ATI and NVIDIA, there's OS 10, but we're really spending all our major development for Windows. But what if OS 10's market share greatly improved? Then we would see real enhancements, possibly even more and more major league titles and games running on OS 10. That would make people who like OS 10 very, very happy. And finally, reason number 10, OS 10 already runs on pretty much standard PC hardware. It wouldn't be that hard for Apple to pull it off. It really wouldn't. So there's no real technical reason as to why they couldn't make it happen. I see more of an upshot than a downshot. But there are people of the opposite opinion. They believe that it's Apple's interest to serve they're legally required to serve the best interest of their stockholders. We get that. And they still make a tremendous amount of money on selling new Macs. But maybe the opposite approach, opening it up, maybe it is time. Maybe there's more benefits and liabilities. But I would like your comments down below. Bruce Naylor, I'll talk to you later.